Hey everybody, I'm going to show you how to add scrolling text to your game, which makes it a lot more exciting than just printing each line one at a time. What I'm going to show you involves a number of advanced ideas, and it's okay if you want to just copy and paste the code without understanding how it works for now, because later on we'll talk about how it works. But in this video, I'm going to try and explain it step by step so that if you want to understand how it works, you can. So the first thing that we're going to do is add a new command. And this command is going to just pause the output. So instead of just saying, welcome to Dungeon of Terror and Cake, you're going to pause between each of these messages. So I'm going to name my command delay, and in the parentheses, I'm going to give it an input, which is how long I want it to delay in milliseconds. So 100 milliseconds would be like a tenth of a second, which is not very long. So let's make it 500 milliseconds. Okay, so you can see it's in red right now because we haven't actually defined this command. So if you're going to copy and paste the code that I'm going to write right now, make sure that you copy and paste it after the end of your main method. And you can tell because if you put your cursor on the closing curly brace, you should see it matching this opening one. So it's got to be after main is over, but it has to still be inside the curly braces for your program as a whole. So I'm going to say public static void delay. And then inside the parentheses, I'm going to define an integer variable. I'm going to say int amount. And then after the parentheses, I'll have an opening and closing brace. So you might notice that this is very similar to the main method, public static void main, that says public static void delay. So this pattern of words, each of these words means something specific that you'll learn eventually. But right now you can think about this as defining how do I make a new command. And then this word right here before the parentheses is the name of your command, and you can use the command from inside main. And if you want to give your command an input, you have to create a variable that will hold the number that you're trying to give as an input. So I want this number 500 to move inside this command that I'm defining here. And I've defined int amount as the variable that will automatically hold that number. If you remember from math class, this is very similar to defining a function. So in math class, you might say let f of x equal 2x plus 5. And then later on, if you want to use the function, you'd say f of 5. And this 5 is a number. But we know that this 5 is really the same as this input x. So you can think about 5 as getting assigned to x, and then you can evaluate the inside of the function. You can say, okay, 2 times 5 plus 5 is 15. So it's the same thing here. Here, I have a function that I'm trying to use called delay. I want the input to go inside the definition of the command. And so all of this is how Java is automatically set up to do that. Okay, so what do I want to do inside here? I want to say thread.sleep by that amount. And this is actually the Java command for just having everything stop for a certain amount of time. So you see there's some red underlining here. The problem is there might be an error that happens while the program is pausing. And so we have to tell Java to be ready to handle that error if it happens. So, oops, that's not how we're going to do it. So what I did was I hit Alt Enter, and I'm going to say surround with try catch. For you can just literally type all of this or copy paste if you want. What a try catch block is doing is it's saying try to do this code right here. So it's trying to do all of the code inside these curly braces. And if a certain kind of error happens, then instead of just crashing and displaying some red runtime error, we're going to catch the problem. And all the information about the problem is going to be contained inside a special object called an interrupted exception object. And so instead of crashing, what it's going to do is it's going to run the command between these curly braces. And what this command is doing is it's saying just print out the information about the error. The details of try-catch blocks and sort of how they're actually useful are probably best to be saved for a different video. But like I said, for now, if you want to, you can just copy and paste literally this exact thing. And as long as this command is defined outside main, you can run delay as many times as you want from inside your actual game. So we could do something like this. We could say, let's make this pause for 1 full second, and let's make this pause for a shorter amount of time. And you can see what this looks like when I run it. Welcome to, well, let's make it pause for even longer so that it's even more obvious. So when I run it, it's going to say welcome to, you'll see it, and then there's going to be a long pause, and then Dungeon of Terror, and then Ant Cake. So this was actually just the first step to what's really interesting, which is having your text slowly scroll one character at a time. So come back for next video, because that code is going to use this delay command.